カスタマイズ。Hello everyone and welcome to Lost in AppliEpisode, AppliEpisode 29. I'm May.
And I'm Jay.
And this time I remembered to introduce myself. And
well done.
Introduce you. And you even said you're Jay, not I'm probably Jay.
And we're watching a booty cancellation. Digimon runes away.
What were your favourite parts about this episode?
Not much. Mostly Offmon being cute.
Yeah, I really liked Offmon.
And Musimon, actually.
Oh yeah, Musimon was great in this episode.
He just having a lot of fun. I want to run away from home. How'd you like running away from home? It was awesome!
Were you feeling it? Were you not feeling it?
I love it!
I was totally feeling it. I love that.
And that was it. That was everything. It was the rest of this episode sucks.
It was cute when the kid got to go home, though.
Who cares?
I thought it was cute.
Who cares that the stupid contrivance kid got the exact same life lesson that Gatchmon needed at that exact moment? Okay. The life lesson that wouldn't have been needed if he acted like a normal person, and everyone else acted like a normal person.
Well, I guess we'll move on to negatives, because Jay doesn't have a lot of positives, and I will say
it's a bad episode.
Because Jay has a lot of negatives, so I'll go first, just so I can, because otherwise I'll forget by the time he's done ranting.
Woo!
So my first one was that Gatchmon totally saves Offmon, and he's just there. But no one, it's sort of annoying that no one points it out. Like,
you mean about the books falling?
Yeah, like he caught the books, and no one would point out that Gatchmon saved him, but they see him carrying the books. So it's just strange that nobody notices this. And another one is that this whole story, and I was thinking about this because we finished watching this episode about an hour ago before lunch. And just kind of, now I thought about it, I'm like, oh no, this episode is incredibly cliched. Like, this is such a cliched story, and I'm pretty sure I've seen it in most, if not all, kids shows that have, like, a running away episode. It always ends in a way of, like, oh, we see someone else that is in a similar circumstance, and we learn something from them.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen this before 5 times at least.
It seemed like a very... It's a story that's done before, and the thing is, when Appmon does something that's cliched, I always expect someone to point it out.
Yeah.
Nobody pointed it out. No one said, hey, this is a bit cliched, isn't it?
I've never known what to call it. But you know when things are groundbreaking and it's new?
Yeah.
I've never known what to call it when something is so not new and so cliched. It's like ground cementing.
Yeah.
It's making the ground less broken than ever.
Yeah, it's just sort of like, it goes by that cliche. And you're right, there should be a word for it that's the opposite of groundbreaking, because it's just there. It's a story that I've seen before in kids shows. Like, and not just recently. This is like, this story is something that I've seen in kids shows when I was a child. And I can understand, it would be good if, you're a kid watching this. Like, it's a nice message, and it's cute, and it's fun. But when you're thinking about it as someone who's seen a lot of media and who's grown up with other kids shows, you see that this story has been played out before in so many different ways.
And better.
Yeah. And it almost seemed like any other shonen anime. It wasn't just, I'll try and work out what I'm saying here, is that Appmon...
It didn't require Appmon in this at all.
Yes, it didn't need to be an Appmon episode. It could have been any other anime. And that's the thing, the thing I like about Appmon is that it tries to break away from, the tropes and the cliches, and if anything seems cliche, it subverts it aggressively, or a character points out, hey, this is a bit cliche. None of that happened.
If there's one really good thing you can generally consistently say about Appmon, is that it is very Unique all the time.
Yes, which is good. It's what I like about Appmon, is that it's
Unique.
Yeah, it's Unique. It's unique. Very much so. And that's something I really like about Appmon, so...
How do you catch a unique Appmon?
Unique up on him, I know.
Yeah! You remember!
Yeah, it's not a funny joke.
Yeah!
But the thing, what I'm saying is, sure, I liked this episode. It was a fun episode. It was not boring. For me, anyway. I did not find this episode boring, but...
It was.
At the same time, it didn't feel like an Appmon episode. It just wasn't.
It was the fillerest episode of Appmon there has ever been.
It was filler.
If this happened in Frontier, I might quit the show.
The thing is, I watched both episodes today, the Watching the Frontier, and I think I preferred the Frontier episodes to this.
Well, I haven't seen them yet, and I'm not looking forward to them.
Yeah, well, they're better than this episode.
They don't have Opvon in them, though.
Okay,
so
yeah, they don't have Opvon.
Get wrecked, I guess, Frontier.
I mean,
ain't got nothing.
Offmon continues to be really adorable, but in this episode, it's almost... I'm sympathising with the Gatchmon. Like, it's almost annoying that everyone's babying him. I know that's the point of the show. It's trying to make, hey, look, Gatchmon's kind of being reasonable in a way.
Look, it's annoying to you because they're not acting like like real people. And are you done with the broad strokes of your negatives, or would you want me to?
Oh yeah, you can go on now.
I think what is really important, and I sort of touched on it, and may sort of touching the edges of it, which is that the problem with this episode is that the plot of it is nonsense. If you imagined that these kids were real people. Every other episode, they've acted like reasonable people. Haru has been complex, so has Eri, so has Astra, and they've all been very reasonable. And this requires them to be blind to stupidly obvious things. Like, if an 8-year-old child, because this is the comparison, right? The comparison is that Gatchmon is an 8-year-old child and Offmon is a 4-year-old. Okay? That's all this episode is. And if an 8-year-old child stopped a 4-year-old from getting hit by a bus, yes, they would go up to that 4-year-old child and say, "Oh my god, are you okay?" And then they would go to the 8-year-old and say, "Thank you so much. We appreciate this, that you've done this. It's amazing. What you have done is admirable." They would absolutely do that because that's what normal people do. You don't just totally ignore one child in this case because there's another child there. Yeah, there'll be more attention, and the reason this episode is happening is they'll play up to that because it's an age-old thing with new kids and older kids feeling like they've been ignored. But from an entertainment perspective, you can't, even with Atmon, you can't suspend your disbelief to the point of saying, well, no one would even see Gatchmon there. They would just call him annoying while he's saving this thing from injury. And so when he gets annoyed, you go, fair enough. But the whole plot doesn't make any sense, because it would never happen this way, the way the characters have been shown to us before. It requires... This is like, it's like in the episode where everyone doesn't like Takuya in Frontier, where Takuya has just suddenly become really annoying, where he never was before.
Oh yeah, when he starts being very Davis.
Yeah, he just becomes Davis for an episode, for no reason, because they really needed to give him character development in an episode, but he was already developed to that point, so he didn't need to learn anything. Takua, thanks. What are you, my parents?
Takuya was very... he was all right. Like he was a typical character, typical normal person who's 11, and they could have degraded him in that episode. So it's quite similar how in this Atmon episode the characters didn't seem like themselves. It was almost like, I want to say like maybe fan fiction, like someone wrote this.
It does feel like that.
As a very fluffy, very nice. It's cute. As I said, like this episode is only bad in the way that doesn't feel like a real Atmon episode, and that you could almost replace this with any other characters, and it didn't have to be Atmon. They could have just been they could have been from Yokai Watch, they could have been Pokemon, they could have been anything. That's the thing. And as I was saying before, when I was saying about my negatives, is that it's not Atmon. It didn't have any new apps. It didn't really have any... Like, he used his search feature, and that was clever. When he was using the search feature, it's like, okay, you don't know where home? Okay, what preschool did you go to? Okay, next question, what shop did you go to? Okay, what are the parks that are nearby? Which one have you been at? Oh, this one's outside my house. That was clever.
I thought it would be like, they ended up at the park they found him at, and it's like, we didn't get any progress.
No, that would have been funny, but no, that was a bit I liked.
That was clever, that's fine. But also, let's go on to what is the core of the episode. Now that the premise makes no sense of how Gatchmon leaves, the core of the episode is they run into a small child who has also run away from home, and in so doing, in the effort to get him home because he regrets leaving, Gatchmon learns a lesson about his life. Now, this seems okay on paper. It can be, but it's so absurdly unlikely that this would have happened. You have to imagine it in an abstract. You're standing at the top of a hill. You have a rubber ball. You think to yourself, if I drop this down this hill, where is the ball going to go, right? Where is this character going to develop? What are they going to learn? Okay, that's the ball. At the exact same time as you think that, another rubber ball bounces past you and does... And goes down the hill and bounces in a certain way and rolls down. You drop your ball after it and it does the exact same thing. And you go, that makes sense. What is the likelihood that you would have been thinking that at the time, and then the exact thing you were thinking about happens?
Oh, yeah, it's very plot convenient, which I think that's one of the first times we've actually said the word plot convenience when we're covering Atmon.
No, it happens, but almost every time someone else goes, well, this is interesting.
Yeah, because and that's what I was saying just a few minutes ago, is that Atmon always points out when it's, following tropes or being cliched or it's subverting the tropes, is that there's always a character points it out when it's being cliched, so we don't have to say that's plot convenient because they make a joke about it being plot convenient. Or if they subvert it completely, like, hey, wouldn't this happen? And then something doesn't happen because it's not following tropes. And that's why I like Atmon. And the fact that it's, I thought, I was waiting the whole time for there to be, the kicker of, oh, this isn't the way it's going to go at all. Like,
No.
I expected, like, I don't know, Leviathan shows up or Stellamon shows up and it turns out to be not filler. Because that's how Atmon goes.
I guess what I'm taking from this, and what I should say very specifically, is that the moment you saw the title of the episode, in any other series, you could have gone, I know exactly what's going to happen, pretty much beat by beat, and then it will resolve at the end. And the embarrassing thing about this episode is that beat by beat is exactly what happened.
Yeah, but at the end of the episode, Gatchmon says everything's as it was before. Like, he's frustrated. He says
Literally everything as it was before.
So and that's sort of like, in a way, calling out the cliche. Like, it's a filler episode, and at the end of the day, everything's the same. You could just cut this episode out, and nothing would have changed. And I guess Gatchmon, the point is that Gatchmon may have learned the lesson, but was it a lesson that he'd previously shown that he needed to learn?
Well, and I talked to you about this while we were watching it. It doesn't even matter. Because whether or not Haru pays attention to him, shouldn't he be more pragmatic and think, oh yeah, Leviathan's out there, and I need my buddy to fight.
Yeah, and usually Haru's the one to point that. I'm like, hey, no, hang on, we have, that Leviathan thing, that's still important. Haru doesn't mention that. Haru is not Haru until, like, he sees Gatchmon again. He's very kind and forgiving, and he's like, oh, no, I'm
lots
sorry.
of snacks.
Yeah, and that was Haru, but for the rest of the other episode, it was kind of like, oh, isn't Offmon cute? Let's ignore Leviathan. He didn't even mention Leviathan or anything. He just said, isn't Offmon cute? It was like we went from the last episode and the episode before where we actually had plot about Yujin, and it went from the way that the last episode ended, be like, oh, Yujin's mum might be, like, controlling him in some way.
No, now they're just like, Offmon's cute though, right?
Yeah, and it went from, like, the past two episodes, all we were talking about was Offmon being cute. And now it's to the point, it's kind of like, yep, I'm ready to go on now. We've met Offmon, we know he's adorable. We don't need an episode to show how adorable Offmon is and how much everyone likes him, because we saw that for 2 episodes. Offmon's fine, Offmon's great, but, like, now back to the plot, please. We've had this kind of, like, mid-arc pause.
No, the next one's going to be a filler too, though. We know that.
I'm so worried. The preview for the next episode.
Dokomon falls in love with the female Pororimon.
Yeah.
Great. Because I think they say female Pororimon too, which is interesting because that totally subverts your tamers. Digimon do not have gender. They just appear a gender.
Yeah.
No, this is female.
Yeah, and it's like how, oh, are you guys related? No, we just look alike.
No, these ones are related.
No, these ones are, female Pororimon. That implies relation.
I only make girl food.
Yeah, I'm gonna be so mad if she only makes cupcakes.
No, that'd be awesome, actually. I want to see that.
I know, but I feel like I'd be annoyed. I want her to be exactly like Pororimon, but pink.
What a dick.
Yeah.
And my miscellaneous bit is the only miscellaneous bit in this episode. No, actually, sorry. Last negative, Afro Man made no sense. He looks at a picture of Gatchmon and is like, no.
Yeah, that made no sense. It wasn't like, oh, I'm looking for something and all I can find is this, or it wasn't like, oh, my phone froze in this moment, or it didn't have anything to do. It was basically just putting Afro Man in just to put Afro Man in.
Yeah, and they could have done anything. They could have done anything better than this, but they didn't. Now,
Gatchmon runs between his legs and trips him over or something.
You know what would have been really funny?
What?
If Afro Man was the kid who ran away's dad.
Oh, and it's like, I lost my son.
No!
That would have been fine. That's putting Afro Man in there, because I love the running joke, okay? I know he's credited as Caught Up Man.
And then it would be like, he gets down there and he goes, you don't have to grow an afro. And the kid's like, that's not why I ran away. He goes, oh, okay.
No, he says, no, afro.
With miscellaneous bit, the only miscellaneous bit I have is UMA Hunter J!
Oh, I was going to say that as my miscellaneous bit, because that was great. And the fact that he's like...
And I look back,
and I've caught you again.
Now I will leave, and I'm looking back again.
Yeah, and that was referencing cliches, and it was subverting tropes of the whole, okay, we're safe.
Now the question is,
turns around.
Are we ever going to see that guy again?
I hope so. I feel like he's too well detailed.
He's definitely too well designed as a character. They put money into this guy.
The kid and the parents we're not going to see again, because they were the most blandest, genericest characters, like mum and dad and son character ever.
Hey, Japanese artists right out of anime school. They have those, right? Anyway, right out of anime school. Can you draw a child? Here you go. Great, we're going to put that on our show now. What, are you going to pay me? No, you showed us you can draw a child. Thanks!
Yeah. My other miscellaneous bit was when Dokomon returns and Eri punches him in the face. And
Yeah!
Yeah, she's gonna hug, like, Dokomon.
No, that was a favourite.
Yeah, well, Michelin Spears, because I forgot to mention it in favourite. And she punches him, and I think that was, like, the happiest we were in the episode.
It's the first time... No, I'll tell you when we were happiest. It was right after this. But the first time she's ever actually punched anyone, and then Dokomon, he's happy. He doesn't mind it, and he's got a big bandage on his nose now. He's like, I got punched. No, the best one was when Astra, when he mentioned in favourites, Astra goes, did you like running away from home? Was it cool? And Musemon's like, yeah, it was sick. And then they just high five.
Well, I was going to say that for favourite character, which you skipped over.
You
went straight to Michelina's bits because you wanted to talk about your favourite character.
Musemon's the best.
But no, I loved Musemon in this episode. Could you imagine, like, us when we watched episode 6, I think it was, Astra's introduction, saying that Musemon and Astra are our favourite characters in an episode? Because you know why? They were two of the most, like, legitimate characters in this episode. They stayed true to themselves.
Yeah, they never changed.
Yeah.
Like, I would say that Musemon going with them was a bit odd.
No, but
if you ask the question, it's like, would he do something fun? And he thought it was fun? Yeah, right, yeah.
But he explained that. The thing is, he actually explained his motivation for leaving was because, it's totally cool and he's rapping. And, like, that's so Musemon.
What was Dokomon's reason again?
Because Eri was paying more attention to Offmon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was Gatchmon's reason, but with Eri.
Yeah.
See, even Eri, like, doesn't really strike me to be a sort of, oohing and ahhing over the cute little thing.
No, she would do it, but she wouldn't. She does it to Dokomon, though.
But the bit of the episode, the first part didn't seem like Eri.
Yeah, they did not. It just seemed completely. God, I don't want to say unrealistic.
It was fanficky.
You're right. Offmon is a Mary Sue. All of a sudden, this new character showed up, and everyone's in love with them, and they have all these new powers, and they're the most powerful. Well, oh my god, Offmon's a Mary Sue for reals.
Yeah, but it seems a little bit out of character for everyone except for Astra and Musemon, because that was sort of like Musemon just did it for fun, and then Astra was
running away from home, the sickest thing ever. Yeah,
Astra's like not even mad, not even asking him about it. He's not even asking for his reasons because he knows his reasons. It was to have fun. Like, wasn't that fun? Yeah, it was. And I love Astra and Musemon. They are the best. I love them so much. For ranking, I put this placed just above the recap episode, so it is second last.
Okay, it's the actual worst episode, but the worst episode wasn't even really an episode. It was a waste of time in which nothing happened. So, of course, it gets the last. But, like, nothing can get worse than that. That's not the last position. That's not the last ranking on the ladder. That's the floor on which the ladder stands.
Yeah. But I feel like it would be incomplete if we didn't have the recap.
Yeah, okay.
But the thing is, I found this kind of hard to place because, like, even though I have complaints, this was a fine episode. Like, I thought it was cute. And at some point, like, I think I enjoyed it better than Astra's introduction episodes. But I was talking to Jay about this, and Jay said, but things happen in those episodes. We got a new character, we got a new evolution, we can't remove those. So they're necessary, despite them not being as, like, I don't know, they weren't fantastic episodes, but this one, as I said, like, the characters weren't themselves. It felt like it was guest writer day. I feel like they had someone saying, can you write a story with these characters?
I'd be really interested to see a chart that has all the episodes laid out, and it's like, so it goes up and down with what ranking we gave them at the end. So you'd see, like, the beginning would sort of be in the middle, and then it would sort of go up a little bit, and then it'd go down a little bit, and then it would go down a lot, and then it would suddenly go back up, sort of.
Yeah, I'd like to plot that, but on my ranking, I feel really bad because episode 4 is still at the top.
Yeah!
And
nothing beats that!
Episode 4. I know we had a lot of bad episodes after episode 4, but come on, episode 4. Can't we outrank the 4th episode?
Nope.
That came out in October?
Nope.
Like, how are we not getting past that at episode 30? I just feel like, come on, I have faith in these writers. And yeah, I would like to see a chart of the up and down because I feel like it went down for a while, then went up. And now it's like, because of episode 26 and 29, it's like, it's down now. It's put in some good episodes because I have a lot of faith in the show.
And there's a filler next week too.
I hope not. I hope it's an double whammy. The Christmas episode was arguably not filler.
Yeah, but because you heard Christmas and you went, okay, whatever. This one told you the plot is Dokomon falls in love with this thing, and you go, okay. It's not a concept anymore. That's a plot, and that plot's filler.
I mean, like, maybe it's like the mid-arc break where we get our fluffy before it goes hard and dark because we know things about Rey. And Ray has all the, his brother is not there, and, he's probably Hackmon is his brother, technically.
It's just a big waste of time. Anyway, we'll see you next one, Dokomon's Love.
So, yeah, episode 30 is called Dokomon's Love, Gourmet Appli Mary Perot Attack. Yeah. So, yeah, I hope it's going to be, not actually filler, but I guess it probably might be. You can email us at LostinTranslationmon@gmail.com, or you can comment on this episode messages on SoundCloud. You can follow us you can follow us on @TranslationMon on Twitter, and you can find us on Tumblr as LostinTranslationmon, which is the same on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. We have a discussion thread on With the Will and a Reddit thread in the AppMon subreddit. We'd really appreciate if you were to review us on iTunes, Stitcher, or whatever podcast listening apply doodly you listen to us on. And we'd really appreciate, I already said that part, I'm just really tired. We have a website now, so you can check out the weekly poll that we have for our main episode and our upcoming episodes, as well as our apply ranking. And you can also find a link there to our Patreon, which is also linked in the description. And you can start from as little as $1 a month, which gets you access to our listener Slack chat group, but higher levels gets you things like exclusive notes, information, early and unedited episode recordings, the ability to suggest discussion topics, Skype calls with May and Jay, and more.
And thank you to our Patreon supporters, Sam Krieger, who has a podcast called The Moncast, which talks about Pokemon and Digimon. Stevie, who's also Stevie on YouTube, and you can find a link to their channel in the description. Wuxinglong, who you can find at twitch.tv/Wuxinglong. Metal Mamimon, Joe, Anime Guy, who is Anime Guy Kurosaki and the #1 on YouTube. Chuckmon, Ishwal Bamba, Hirolato, who is at Hirolato on Twitter. Jason Morosky, Ryuchi, who is Frost Miragic on Archive of Our Own. Stephen Reeves, who is at WildWing64 on Twitter. Kaidawashi, Mac, Noam, Riku, Red and Garen from Breakfast with Digimon, which is another Digimon podcast you can find on SoundCloud. Chisai, who you can follow at Chisai236 on Tumblr. And you can buy shirts and stuff with their art on it. It's awesome!
Yeah!
On Redbubble. Look for we'll talk about it later. Corey, Kyle, Delady Bugman, whose anime blog you can find at baguburagu.wordpress.com. Small Wolfie, who's on Tapastic as Small Wolfie, and has a comic called Eden of Melancholy. Tom, Glitchcode, and Azrael, McCool.
You can make a one-off donation on PayPal, will be found linked in the description. It's paypal.me/Agumon. And make sure to listen to the podcast. We'll see you guys next time. Bye!
Bye!